Hi guys, my name is Tiffany and welcome back to another video. So in this one I want to share with you guys on tips to be successful as a nursing student. So I've done a few videos in the past about some things I wish I knew and some tips I have for nursing students. But this one I want to share with you guys on some tips and ways for you to become successful while you're in nursing school. So the first tip I have for you guys is number one, keep yourself organized. So I've shared this before where for me, I like to have a physical planner, but I also do have a electronic one as well. So I do have a Google Calendar to kind of keep myself organized in one place in my workplace. But when I was in nursing school, I did everything all written in a written planner to kind of map out my day and kind of schedule my time. So of course, obviously you have multiple classes that you're working with and then studying for different exams and writing different papers and things like that, that it's best to keep yourself in an organized schedule. So for me, I'm the type of person that likes to plan things ahead. So if I knew I had a paper due 2 weeks from now, I would start planning on writing out that essay and give myself little chunks of time on when to do it. So within that 2-week time frame, I'd probably do like an hour or two per day on that essay. So that way, if I spread out my time and I gave myself enough time that I wouldn't feel so stressed out and burnt out from it, and that it gave me enough time to prepare versus trying to cram it all in the last minute. So I did that also with my studying schedule as well. If I knew I had an exam like 2 or 3 weeks from now, I would start breaking it out into little chunks every single day and study for like an hour or two a day per whatever subject I needed to study for instead of trying to cram it all in the last minute. So I had a paper planner, which I would write everything out whenever deadlines were due and things like that, and when to start working on them. So that way it gave me kind of visually things on how I should plan out my time, and it didn't look as stressful compared to if I saw a deadline due in the one day and I didn't give myself enough time to work on it. Then of course, obviously I'm stressing out at the last minute. So that is my first recommendation and tip for you guys. The next tip I have for you guys is utilize your resources at school. So for me, everywhere I go, no matter where I'm in nursing school or currently where I'm working, that I try to use the best and most out of all my resources that I have, just because it's there for you for a reason. If you're not using it, it's truly wasteful. So while I was in nursing school, I would sign up for tutors for a majority of the classes, whether I needed it or not, just because it's really nice to have someone to reinforce information with or teach you something new. And so I would have tutors for a lot of my classes, and that way I was able to have information reinforced. We can discuss information back and forth together, and that's really where I retained a lot of information too. So that's definitely a resource that I used a lot while I was in nursing school. And yeah, like I said, whether I need it or not, I would get it anyway, just because that's there for you for a reason. So try to make the most out of your experience while you're in school. If they have resources for you like that, then definitely make use of it. Another tip, of course, going along with that too, is having little study groups. It'd be nice for you to kind of gather everyone in your cohort or people that are taking the same class as you and form a little study group. For me, I definitely am pretty much a self-studier, but I do love having study groups. That way we can kind of talk all the information out, kind of like how I would with my tutor. But it's nice to kind of discuss things with your classmate too, because they may give you insight on some things that you may not know about. Or there were some times where during my study group, some of my classmates mentioned things that I didn't even know was going to be on the exam. And sometimes the tutors wouldn't really know that because they've taken those classes already. So they're not sure what is new and upcoming and what's going on really in the classroom. They kind of just go over the general basics of whatever the professors kind of give them as the outline for our course. But regarding new information, sometimes your classmates may know something that you don't, or maybe something is going to be covered on that exam that you didn't even know was going to be covered on it. So it was really nice in that sense that my classmates kind of kept me in track too on some information that I didn't even know was going to be a part of the subjects we were learning about. So that was really helpful as well. Another thing to kind of go along with that too, and something that I am very extremely passionate about, is mentoring. So in my nursing school, we didn't really have a mentor program. So I was part of our Nursing Students Association, where I kind of created, and along with my other classmates, we kind of created a mentorship program where really I wanted something more formal. Like, of course, if you have your tutors or your TAs or your professors that you can go along and discuss things, information to, but it's nice to have a mentor to kind of ask kind of like the dumb questions. I feel like a lot of people didn't really have resources like that to kind of just ask like, hey, what can we wear for clinicals, or is there anything special I need to bring, or how did you study for the predictor, or just stuff like that. It's nice to have someone you can ask to for all the little basic information, or just questions that you don't want to really bother your professor with, and just someone that has experienced it before can kind of help answer some of those questions. So I do one-on-one mentoring session where I kind of answer some questions people have about whether it's nursing school or NICU related. And since I have experienced it or went through it before, that I kind of have some knowledge that I can share back with you, and some advice and tips that I have. So of course, it's really nice to have a mentor anywhere you go, whether it's through school or through work. And personally for me, even through work now, I love being able to be a part of a mentorship where it's someone that you can trust and go to at the facility that you're at or wherever you're at, to kind of give you some information that may be helpful for you. So even now, I personally don't have a mentor at work currently, but I do have people that I go to kind of ask basic information about like benefits or retirement, or just really dumb stuff about like my schedule and stuff like that. And anytime you have any little basic questions, it's nice to be able to have a mentor to ask those things to. So definitely go out there and see if your school provides that kind of resource. And I highly recommend getting a mentor, whether you need it or not, because honestly, it's just nice to have someone to ask really basic questions to. And lastly, what I'm going to highly suggest in order for you to become successful is really taking care of yourself. Doing a lot of self-care. One thing I'm going to say that I did not do enough of while I was in nursing school is taking care of myself. I drowned myself in nursing school. Every extracurricular that I did was related to nursing. And so I didn't really have any time for myself, and I really didn't plan out any time for me to do things that I enjoy. So I honestly was so burnt out and tired that it made me want to quit nursing at some point in my nursing school career, that I wish someone had told me to kind of remind that to myself, to plan out time for self-care, whether it be a day of the week where you do something for yourself, or you spend time with your friends and family, and especially take the time to spend time with your classmates, because honestly, that's really going to be time where you're going to be spending the most time with them. Once everyone starts working and starts living their own life, you're really not going to be seeing them that much anymore. So it's just something that I kind of regret and took for granted, on not being able to spend a lot of time with people and taking care of myself and doing things that I enjoy, so that way I didn't burn myself out. So if that's one thing I'm going to recommend to you guys in nursing school, really plan out time, even write out time in your planner to kind of do some self-care, whether it be binge watching a show for an hour or so, or just going out there doing a hike or something like that, something to kind of take you away from just doing your daily tasks, and that way it won't burn you out. So hopefully this video is helpful for you guys, and for those out there who are currently in nursing school, I hope that you guys are doing well. And honestly, just remember that this is a small portion of your life that you're going to get through, and it's going to be all worth it in the end. So good luck to you, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!